Gamers, it is that time of year again, every 3 months, where we rank all of the TFT sets and do a retrospect on the newest set 9.5, and see where we rank it against all the other TFT sets. Now, this tier list is based off of my personal enjoyment. That is all. That is all that matters to me, because I am me. And more importantly, this is based off of my memory, because, I'm going to misremember some stuff, but all that really matters in the human experience is what you can remember. And that's what we'll be ranking today. One last thing before we start ranking them. I just want to say, last time I did this, I rated a lot of the sets very low. And it's interesting to see how my opinions change of sets as time passes and that sort of thing. You lose like recency bias and that sort of thing. But I rated a lot of them very lowly. And I had some comments of people like, dude, do you even like TFT? Have you lost the spark? Stop playing the game. You guys are idiots. But I think it's hilarious. Anybody who has the mindset that you can't be critical of something that you like, I just think that is so hilarious. But I am rating these sets based off of like against themselves. So I'll have a set that's an S tier, and then the rest of the sets are being compared off of that standard. If I was comparing all video games, then all TFT sets would be above B tier. Because I love TFT. It's one of the greatest games ever made. Best live service game for sure. So just want to get that out of the way. All right, first things up, I'm going to try to speedrun these. A lot of times I can be kind of long-winded, but let's just try to speedrun these. And especially the first few sets, I'm definitely going to just kind of rush through. And that is because I started playing TFT very seriously in set 4. I've played TFT since set 1, but I was working a full-time job and I didn't really like the earlier sets. So I will just rank them very quickly. Okay, first up, we have set 1. And set 1, I played a lot of Dota Auto Chess, and I just thought Dota Auto Chess was more fun at the time. I thought this PBE was really, really fun on this, but other than that, I think it was just fine. It's going to go down into the C tier. Didn't really capture my ire. All right, next up is set 2. And set 2 is when they added elements, the elemental hex. If you guys are playing the current set, the Ixtal hex, that was in every game, and it would rotate on what it was. It was kind of a fun one to spin. I think that mechanic was cool, but just the nostalgia and like the enjoyment of the very first set was just a little bit better. I actually think set 2 is probably a small improvement from set 1, but just my experience was I enjoyed set 1 a little bit more. Okay, and now on to set 3. Set 3, I did not play set 3 at all. I was working a job where I was traveling, but I did play set 3.5. So we were going to group them together here. And set 3.5 is the first time I think I entered what I would consider to be high UO. I mean, now I probably wouldn't even consider it high UO, but I did hit Grandmaster. And at that time, you could hit Grandmaster at 0 OP for some reason. You just had to be in the top 1,000 players on the server. And so I hit top 1,000 players on the server on the very first patch. But the very first patch was the Rebel patch, which was really bad. I think I was terrible at the game. But this is the first kind of taste I had of kind of high UO. I'd get in games with people I thought were really good players and that sort of thing. And I thought this set was pretty fun. And I'm going to put it up into the B tier. It still did not capture me. I still was just like looking to do other things, but this is when I first started to think, hey, maybe I could do a lot with this TFT game, but maybe not. All right. And now on to set 4. And I'm just going to say right out of the gate, set 4 is my favorite set by far. Maybe not by far. There's another set that I like quite a bit that is going to go up here as well. But yeah, set 4 is the standard for me. Chosen was super fun. Maybe nowadays we maybe wouldn't enjoy Chosen because how good people are at the game now. But what was really cool about Chosen that I liked at the time is that like every stage you would sell your Chosen unit. And that is something we're going to talk about later when we start talking about set 9. Is like you had to make a lot of decisions throughout the game. Like you didn't just take your like 1-cost Chosen and play the whole game. You could sometimes, but like every stage you would try to upgrade your Chosen. Like, you go into stage 3, you're like, all right, sell my 1-cost. Let's see what we can get. You're looking for a 2 or 3-cost Chosen. I played so much Janna Chosen and would flex that all the time. Rolling down on stage 4 for a 4-cost Chosen was not fun because you had 5% odds. And I think they should have just removed that personally, because if you get a 4-cost Chosen versus a 3-cost Chosen, it was just crazy the difference you could get there. So that was not a fun design, but I did like the amount of decisions you had to make throughout the game. The units, I mean, you probably heard so many people talk about this. Set 4 had the best units. It's not even close. All the 4 costs were super cool. All of the 5 costs were super cool. A lot of A lot of the one costs were cool. Like Yasuo reroll was really, really, really fun. And yeah, this set is just goated, and I could go on and on about it all day, but this is my favorite set of all time. It's not even close, baby. And then next up is Festival of Beast. Festival of Beast, I think I rated this a lot lower before. Essentially, they took a lot of the things I liked out of set 4, a lot of the units that I really liked in set 4, and replaced them with units that created some unfun gameplay to play against. Aatrox was in set 4, and Aatrox was really cool. He was one of the premier tanks. He hooked 2 people on your team partly into the fight. It was really hard to, and it was fine, but in set 4.5, everybody kind of had Vanguards became like the best way to play. Like you wanted to have Aatrox and Sejuani on your team every game. So there was just like a lot of CC, and people kind of figured out that you want to have that CC in every single comp. And then they added the Slayers. So Samira would just full wipe your board, which I thought was not a fun experience. Just a Samira 1 with 3 items. So it'd full wipe your board if you had Vertical Slayer in. And then it was really hard to position front to back comps against those Vanguards because they'd put Sejuani in front of your whole team if you wanted to clump, and your whole team would be stunned. And then there would be an Aatrox. So if you cornered, Aatrox would hook you out of the corner. And then Tryndamere would spin into that corner and kill you. It was just a lot of like unfun experiences that were in the game. But I still thought the set was pretty solid. And I think I've rated this set a lot lower before, but I'm actually going to put it in the B tier today, just based off of how I'm going to do some of the other rankings today. I've been thinking about it a little bit. It's going to go up to the B tier. I still had some fun. I hit Challenger in this set. This is the first set I ever hit Challenger. So there's something cool about that as well. All right, Reckoning, set 5. So for a very long time, set 5 was my least favorite set. And we'll see how that changes here in a minute. But yeah, I really did not like this set. I don't think hardly anybody liked this set. There's a few people like Milk like this set. But this set mechanic, the shadow items were just so unbelievably unbalanced. Like it was just so unbelievably unhealthy for the game. And they added component anvils in the set, which was cool. And what I will say positively about this set is that I think it had a lot of cool units. I really liked this is the first set that had Cavaliers, had Misfortune. I liked a lot of the Forgotten units and that sort of thing. We don't talk about Vayne. And the other thing that really sucked about this set, and this is going to be some of my complaints about some of the more recent sets, is your game was completely decided on stage 2. Whatever unit you had to start on stage 2 was what you were going to play. Verticals were extremely strong in this set. And so like if you had a 2-star Leona, you're going to be playing Redeems most likely. If you have a 2-star, I think it was Warwick was the 1-cost tank. I can't remember. But if you have a 2-star Vayne or whatever, you're probably playing Forgottens. And the game just felt a lot like you didn't have to make a lot of decisions. So what I love about set 4 is the amount of decisions you have to make throughout the game. And in set 5, you had to make very few decisions other than these shadow items, anvils, and that sort of thing, which was cool. But that would have been cool if the shadow items weren't just unbelievably unhealthy for the game due to a lot of unit design. I mean, just watch LeBlanc. Just look up blue buff. If you guys didn't play this out, just look up blue buff, shadow blue buff LeBlanc, and you will get some good stuff. So I'm going to put it down into the D tier. Although, like if this set came out today, I think I would have fun playing it for a couple weeks. Because again, I really did like the units, and the set mechanic was fun. It was just so unbelievably unbalanced and was not good for competitive play. Not a good time playing in high UO in that set. Okay, and next we have 5.5. Now you might think I'm going to put it way down here, but as I said, a lot of the cool things they added in set 5, like I liked a lot of the cool traits and that sort of thing, and I liked the anvils, and I liked the amount of decisions you had to make throughout the game. It's just those decisions were always terrible to make in set 5. But in set 5.5 is when they changed the mechanic to radiant items, and radiant items are a lot cooler. And I feel like they did a couple of other cool things in this set, but I just remember really enjoying this set. And I think what also helps this set is the contrast between set 5 and 5.5. Set 5 was dog shit, and so anything was going to feel a lot better to me. And I had a lot of fun playing 5.5. It's going to go up into the A tier. I honestly can't really even remember any units from this set, but I just remember really enjoying this set. And again, I think it's just a juxtaposition because I was having so much fun in set 4, and then man, set 4.5 was a small downgrade for me, and then 5 was like a huge downgrade, and then 5.5 was pretty fun. Okay, and now we have set 6, and this is the first set that we had augments, and I love this set. This set was great. I think this is the last set that we had what I would consider to be flex play. And let's talk about that real quick because that's going to impact how I rank the later sets a lot more. What is flex play? If you guys didn't play early TFT, I don't think you know what flex play is, because I've been talking about this a lot lately. I've been hearing other people talk about this a lot lately. And when I talk about like flex, and people are like, dude, you can actually play so many comps. What are you talking about? There's new flex. And people telling me, hey, we're actually in a 4-cost flex meta right now. I think you'd really enjoy the game. And to that I say, I don't think you know what the fuck you're talking about. And that's fine. That's fine. You just didn't play earlier sets. So what flex is not, and this is what a lot of people think flex is. What flex is not the amount of comps that you can play. That is not what flex means. Like, you look at the stats of compositions and you see the stats and you're like, oh, all these comps have like a 4.4 average, it's playable and all that stuff. There's like 10 different comps you can play. That is not what flex is. Who cares? Who cares? Flex is, again, the amount of times you have to make decisions in the game that impact what composition you're going to play. And this isn't all about just like 4-cost soup, because a lot of people say, like, oh, all you want is a 4-cost soup meta, where you do is you play like, you like play tempo in the early game, or you like econ, and then you go for a big roll down and you buy all the 4-costs, buy all the legendaries, and you just play what you hit. Yeah, I do love that. But what people don't understand about 4-cost soup metas is you don't just play all the 4-costs you hit. Like, you buy all the 4-costs and then you create a board from there. Like, for example, if we were in a really awesome, if the current set had actual flex play or there's more to it, but if your roll down actually looked like, you're rolling for a front line and you're rolling for a back line and you have some items that you can play multiple carries. Like, let's say you can actually play Rageblade on Xayah, Aphelios, and Azir in the current set. I mean, you can play them on 2 of them, right? And like, let's say you have Aphelios' front line, and then you hit Azir, but you don't hit Aphelios. You hit an Azir too. And then you could be like, okay, you have like 3 options from there after you do your roll down. Do I continue to play the Aphelios front line with an Azir back line, which is going to be not as good? But if the game is balanced well enough around the 4-cost and around actual flex, then like you feel okay with having the Azir, unless you're like really low health. You feel okay with having the incorrect front line with the incorrect back line, or when you're building like a perfect build. And then from there you have to decide, do I create Azir's front line, or do I slowly pivot to Aphelios just throughout the time, or Xayah or whatever, That is like one component of flex, but the other big component of flex that people always miss when they talk about flex now is that like what I was talking about with set 5. Set 5 is probably like the most egregious example of this. You start the game with like a 2-star Leona. You're probably playing redeems the whole game, and you're just going to take the shadow item that fits in line with that. Like, I don't know, you build like a shadow Rageblade or something like that for Varus and play like some Varus reroll or something. Like, your game is already decided, and that's a lot what like the newer sets feel like, but we'll get to that in a bit. And I call set 6 the last time we actually played flex. And by the way, this is not just my own opinion. A lot of people share this opinion. And I think the devs share this opinion too, because they've been kind of hinting at, hey, for all of you guys who really like the older sets and really like when we played flex and when flex was more a part of the game, I think you guys are going to like set 10. So they've been kind of hyping it up, but we'll see. That's sometimes they're just drumming up some hype, but we'll see. And again, the last thing I want to say about older sets, because people will be like, oh, you just like older sets. Yeah, when people talk about that, yeah, the older sets were not perfectly balanced. And again, I'm doing this off of my memory and that sort of thing. And people have gotten a lot better at TFT. And that is a big part of why the game has not felt as flexible and as many decisions. It's just people are better at the game. So like the decision tree is just much more clear. So you're not thinking about as many things. When you get a certain opener, you're like, okay, I'm playing this comp. So anyways, I think set 6 was the last time I truly felt like we were playing flex. And I have not felt it since. So yeah, set 6. We love set 6. Okay, set 6.5. I don't even remember what happened in set 6.5. I legit don't remember. Maybe somebody can refresh my memory. But like, I remembered last time I made this tier list, what happened in 6.5. But I just remember this set being dog shit. I don't know what happened. I really don't know what happened. I think they just removed a lot of things and made the decision, like everything I was just talking about, I think everything was just kind of reversed a little bit. But I don't remember. I really don't remember. But I just remember being dog shit. We're going to put it down into C tier. C tier. Okay, all right, next up is Dragons, and I might rate this a little bit more favorably than I used to. Dragons is the antithesis of flex because, like I said, when we have the 4-cost soup metas or whatever, you buy a bunch of units, you hold a lot of units. But with this mechanic, the Dragons were so expensive, they were 8 gold and 10 gold in set 7. And then the cost got reduced in set 7.5 because this was a huge problem. You can't roll down and like hold a Deja and hold a Siphon, like Siphon and Show You had more flexible items. It's very difficult on a roll down to hold a Siphon and to hold a Show You because they cost 8 gold, dude. Like, what are you going to do? Hold, what is that? 32 gold if you're going to hold 2 copies of each? What is going on? Like, you cannot, yeah, roll downs in this game were so awful. And your comp flexibility was really bad because you had a Colossus unit on every comp that you would make because, like we just said, the dragons take up 2 unit spots on your team and opposed to 1. So comp flexibility and what like that's another thing I really enjoy about playing TFT is like comp variability is like you can build your comp based off of what you hit and that sort of thing. But in this set, like if you're playing Show You, or you're playing Siphon or whoever you're playing, the rest of your team looks the same every single game, because there's no other spots for units. Like, you're level 8, you have 6 other spots for units rather than 7. And it just creates a real big problem. So 7 is going to go into the low C tier. I think I rated it in the D tier last time I did this, but I actually had more, I think the units were really cool. You know what, if I'm going to rate this down here, this has to go below Reckoning, I think. it has to go into the D tier, but I do think a lot of the units were cool. I'll give them that. You know what? C tier, C tier, C tier, C tier, C tier. I'm so indecisive about this. Okay, and then now we're going to talk about 7.5. And 7.5 was much the same of 6 or of 7, but what they did is they reduced the cost. They added 3 cost dragons, which cost 6 gold, and then the 4 cost dragons only cost 7 gold, I believe, and then the other ones, the legendary ones, cost 8 or 9 gold. They reduced the amount of gold, just the problem that I had before, and then they added Lagoon. And I thought Lagoon was really fun. I did not like the Pool Party Graves comp, but I did like the Lagoon comp. I like the Mommy and Daddy Graves and Nyla comp was really fun. So there were a lot of comps that I actually really liked. And this is going to go into I'm going to put it into the high C tier. This is the last set I played before I kind of took a break for a while because, again, what I loved about TFT was flex play, the amount of decisions you have to make, cool units, comp variability. And as I said, set 7 was just the opposite of everything that I like. So this is when I kind of stopped playing the game and I explored different avenues to, try to do other stuff with my time. And so I didn't play any set 8. I did not play a single game, but I did start playing some set 8.5 because when they announced set 9, I got kind of excited and I was like, hey, maybe TFT is going to return to what I used to love. So that's why I started playing a little bit more. And set 8 had a lot of the same problems that set 7 and set 5 had, and set 6.5. Has a lot of the same problems is, your game was really decided. As soon as you got your hero augment, your whole game was decided. You had to make one really important decision throughout the game, and the rest of the decisions were not nearly as important. The opposite of what I enjoyed playing. Comp variability wasn't very high. I didn't play this set a whole lot, but what I did play of it, it was not a fun experience. And this is going to go down. This was probably the least fun I've ever had playing TFT. Now, had I been playing it more, maybe I would have had more fun, but hero augments are the exact opposite of what I like in TFT. Yeah, one big important decision, the rest are not as important. I think that was terrible. I did not have fun. And now we're going on to set 9. Set 9 I rated very lowly last time, and it's going to go pretty low again. I don't really have much I want to say about this, now that I'm thinking about it. It's just, again, all the stuff I've already said about the other sets. I just feel like the balance was really bad in the sets. I mean, the balance was really horrendous. And I was just kind of getting back into TFT with this set. And I think I just had really high hopes. I know a lot of people rate this set very highly. And I don't really have any strong opinions of this. Honestly, I've forgotten about this set already. I think a lot of my opinions about the set will just go into the newer one. But I think I'm going to rate it pretty low on the D tier, or C tier, I mean. It's going to go ahead of 6.5, going to go below 2, 7.5, and set 1. I had a lot of high hopes for this set, and they just didn't live up to them. I was just hoping to return to set 6 or something like that. The feeling that I got in set 6, at least. A lot of people would say, oh, it's just nostalgia, that sort of thing. Okay, well, I'm just talking about my experience. All right, in 9.5, this is the current set. I didn't actually hit Challenger in set 9, but I hit Challenger in set 9.5. I was warming back up, guys. And so I actually had a pretty good set here. What can we say about set 9.5? I think it was almost really good. It was almost good. I think balancing was really bad. Honestly, balancing this set has It's been kind of embarrassing. I mean, just the current patch is probably the worst patch. And some people really like it. Well, before B patch, this was like the worst patch of this whole set. I mean, man, TF Legend. I mean, I think people have just really optimized Legends, and the strict itemization a lot of units need. I think there's a lot I have to think about. I think about the Nyla stuff and maybe Nyla's interaction need to be changed so that this TF thing doesn't happen. I didn't really have a problem with her being so much stronger with the RFC before, but now that this TF Legend thing has been a thing, I don't know, man. This set like almost was good from a design perspective, but the balance has just been so unbelievably horrendous that it hurts it a lot. And again, this set suffers from the same problems that all the most recent sets that I've had, at least from my experience. There's not a lot of really big important decisions I have to make throughout the game. Largely, I know exactly what I'm playing at the beginning of the game. Especially this set has mostly been a reroll meta, and especially in reroll metas, and that is a consequence of balance and design. But in reroll metas, especially, your game is, I mean, you start the game with a Cho'Gath pair and a chain and a belt. What are you playing? You're playing Cho'Gath. You know, you start the game with a 2-star Samira and a bow. What are you playing? You're probably playing, well, it depends on what's meta, but you're probably playing Azir or Mordekaiser. You know, like your opener decides so much of what you're going to play. And then right now, as we're playing, everyone just plays TF Legend or Earth. You know, some people do Earth, and that's the same problem. Both of them have the same problem. I'm playing TF Legend, and then I'm going to play Multicaster. If I have the, you know, I'm talking about current patch at the time of making this video. You know, I'm playing Multicaster. If I have the angle, I'm going to build perfect items. If not, I'm going to build RFC and play Nyla or Mordekaiser. And then if I don't want to do that, I just take Earth and then I pop my emblem and I play whatever vertical I get. And people have been trying to tell me that's like, this is what I'm talking about earlier when I was talking about, you guys don't know what flex is if you think that's flex. Because, you know, if you look at the comps list, there's loads of comps that are viable, but they're viable based off of one big decision you make. Usually that's on stage 2, the very beginning of the game, and the rest of your decisions don't really matter that much. It's just, you kind of just use your game fundamentals and, you know, try to hit the comp that you had already decided you're going to play 10 minutes ago. And that is largely what the game feels like. Now, where do I rate it? You might think I'm going to rate this really low. And I had some fun playing this set. You know, as much as I just talked about how, you know, strict itemization on certain units, I think Mordekaiser is one of the coolest units I've ever played. I had a lot of fun playing this. I think Nico is one of the coolest units I've ever played. And if you guys know me well, what's most important to me, you know, I talk so much about flex and I talk so much about design and that sort of thing, but what's most important to me is, are the units fun? And I think a lot of the units were actually really fun in set 9.5, just the units that I said. And that's why it's going to go actually in the low end of B tier. I'll probably put it way over here in B tier. It's like barely scraping into B tier. But yeah, I actually had a decent amount of fun playing it, but I wouldn't want to play it again. You know, I'm really hoping for a set 6-esque type of set, or at least the way that I felt when I played set 6 going into set 10. And they're really hyping it up, so I'm very excited. So what do you guys think of my list? Put your list in the comment section below based off of all the sets you play. You don't have to rank all of them, but I'd love to see y'all's ranking in the comments, and interested to see y'all's takes on my takes. Maybe I was being a little bit more spicy today, but that's about it. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.